mental block against their opponents. You know, if you actually heard some of the interviews from Palafox, he said Xiaohu was by far the best mid laner that he played against in scrims.
Yep.
Then some of their coaches were even posting World's player rankings based on scrims. They had all the Weibo guys up at the very top of the table, so they were clearly very worried about playing those players going in. But already in picks and bans, this feels like a flashback to playoffs for me. In the first round of playoffs where they played each other, it was all Jace versus Tristana mirror matchups, and APA got absolutely ran by Palafox. So in that second best of 5, it became very much about actually banning out some of these specific picks that one player is stronger on than the other. And for Palafox, he was never getting his Jace. That was banned out every single game. His Azir was mostly getting banned out as well. And APA has been getting a lot of attention from his Ziggs, from his Nico, and we know how good Pyosik looked yesterday on Lee.
I mean, we talked a lot about mid laner, at least off camera as well, about how Palafox was a big deal against APA. We can continue that discussion, but for now, love the Poppy ban to come through. I feel like for TL, maybe doing homework from NRG's game against Weibo yesterday, that first pick blue side, it does mean the Orianna is up, which has had a high priority ban for NRG to take away.
Yeah, absolutely. They are going to be able to grab that Orianna. And APA, likely just playing the same matchup he actually played yesterday against Faker, you know, did play this Syndra, looked very comfortable in lane against it, was pretty active on the map as well, multiple times TPing up towards top side to actually cover Summit on these dives. And it's so interesting, you know, watching TL, and I think APA deserves a lot of credit for how well he actually coordinates with the teams, because it's really funny in the LCS because there's so much talk about how this team largely communicates in Korean. I remember after one of their series, we were actually asking, so APA, why did you pick this year? You know, what was it that you actually happening that made you want to play this in draft? And he said, they didn't even tell me. They just were talking in Korean, and then my champion got locked in, and he's like, oh, I guess this is what I'm playing. So he sometimes is that man, you know, off on his own because of the communication barrier.
Yep.
But he coordinates very well with the team, and him and Pyosik have become, you know, quite the dynamic duo. So I think he definitely is deserving of credit for how adaptable he's been in what sounds like a pretty difficult situation.
And to be fair, I mean, when you have Pyosik, when you have Summit, when you have Core JJ on your team, I completely understand that. So again, running with the flow a bit here, as we're also running through champ select quite big. Look at the power picks on the side of NRG. We have the Orianna, we have the Jax, we have the Sejuani. Powerful solo lanes in the making here for NRG to build up.
APA hovering a couple of Palafox's champions, and while I don't think we got to see it yesterday from APA, this guy is an all-chat demon. He is trash-talking in all-chat in the LCS every single game.
Right.
So it will be funny to see if he's going to be right back to his antics. You know, if junglers come in, he's like, oh, you need your jungler. He's all-chatting all game long. He's trash-talking, he's emoting. He really is a confident guy, a confident player. And I think that both of these teams should absolutely be in their comfort zone because they're so familiar. You know, when you look across the stage, whether you want to admit it or not, it just feels different when you look over and you see a Knight or you see a Faker versus the players that you play against week in, week out. So I'm expecting NRG especially to look more comfortable than they did yesterday.
We got no look at NRG yesterday. It wasn't the NRG we saw in the regular season. I know we'll break this down going into game, but it just really feels like this could be the proper first look.
Yeah.
Maybe at both LCS teams to full fruition, as TL was only the early game yesterday anyway. Just quick touch up, Kai'Sa's going to be taken away, something that doesn't really make it to the second ban phase. But this time away is going to be taken with the Kalista priority sunk in for TL.
Yeah, absolutely. So Yon going to be going back to that Kalista. We saw the FBI played it yesterday. Yon is really one of our versatile ADs in the LCS. He's one of the guys that will bring out things like Draven, like Kalista. He'll also play the late game scaling stuff. So he is really a flexible player. Improved massively from spring to summer. Core as well, you know, for as much as this guy is someone with an immaculate reputation, had not really been playing nearly as well these last couple of years in the LCS, and I think he's coming off of what is his best split in years in the LCS. So these guys, you know, really are looking to show their stuff on the international level. They had a really rough start to the game yesterday against T1. You know, Yon had to blow his flash almost instantly, and he was very far down in that game. So I don't think Yon really felt like he got to get going, and I'm sure that against FBI, he wants to prove himself.
Especially when both bot laners got hammered yesterday as well on that note. FBI Igna weren't able to play the game with the Kalista Alistar. As we are still focusing on that bottom side, it was a Xayah ban from TL to round it out. The Renata as well taken by NRG. We're just wondering what support comes through because, as they're talking about on the desk, Alistar has risen up. It has just been one of the main engagers. Rakan also up and available. Anything you want to add in for Spice?
Yeah, I mean, I think Rakan is generally really highly contested in the LCS, especially if you're playing against Ignar and the team needs engage, because Ignar is one of those guys that really favors the pick. Core, I tend to think, yes, he can play Enchanters really well. I mean, the man won a world championship playing Enchanters, but for TL, They just look different when he's playing Engage. He being that go button for the team, I think is so incredibly pivotal. So, I am expecting them to go towards those Engage type picks, but at the same time, with them looking for 5th pick counter pick here, maybe they have a little bit of a different read. Maybe they're going to pick more heavily for lane. We could see something like a ranged champion. That's why we're getting that Renata banned out. Be picked in, and Senna's going to get locked. So do we actually have a farming TK or something along those lines? I think there's a lot of pairings that you can do with it. Senna TK, by far the most popular, and Senna, I think, is actually really strong right now, so this is cool.
It really is. Again, Senna Tom, Senna Neela's been hyped up pre-tournament. Glad to see a little bit of it here as Core waited for this. It's R5 support counter pick when he's pivotal to the team. When you talk about his engage being a priority, what rounds this out perfectly? I
mean, the Blitzcrank would be spicy. The Rel feels a lot more likely.
Okay.
But, the Blitzcrank would be more of that lane counter. I think the Rel is a lot easier to play in the 5v5s, has that AoE CC. That is something that you really do need when you're playing against Blitzcrank. If you just have single target pick, Tahm Kench is so powerful against that. When Syndra is looking to 100-0 someone, when Viego is looking to dive in and 100-0 someone, the Tahm Kench can just say no. So I am really curious to see what Yon and Core can get done in that bot lane, because without a ranged support, I do think it's difficult to actually really bully that TK. And if FBI is on point with his Qs, both hitting Ignar with the heal as well as poking out Yon and Core, you're actually a pretty difficult lane to push out. And if this lane can be stable, the scaling over on the NRG side, I think, is incredible. They can play through sides with Dokla. You have the Senna ultimate to help for that cross map as well. You have safety for the Senna and the Orianna here with the Tahm Kench. You have good engage with contracts on the Sejuani. So they're definitely looking for, maybe 1-4 or even 5v5, but heavy scaling. There's way more pressure, I feel, on TL to get ahead of the pace of the game, because when you're looking at Viego, you need to be getting those kills. You need to be getting that resets. Similar can be said here for Yon and the Kalista, and even APA playing the Syndra.
But I think for TL, at least it hits that condition of what we talked a lot about yesterday, right? Pyosik was the early game. It was the Lee Sin that really threatened T1. A lot of NA fans were getting their hopes up. I was sitting in the back room going, hey, this could look like a win. It was one mistake. It was one fight mid that they went too far, unfortunately. And it was devastating, but at least we saw what T1 could do. If we're talking about priority on this jungler, if we're talking about priority here as Zale with what the early game can offer, I have faith, considering we didn't see much from NRG yesterday, considering that Weibo didn't give them a chance to play. It's kind of up to them to showcase how they can withstand that early game, as you so well highlighted. And I'm just excited to be part of an NA rivalry. We've seen them twice in the LCS playoffs, and I'll tell you one thing, I haven't cast NA before as well, so this is...
Oh, welcome!
I really do feel like flowers right now, except I don't have the great chin or the Skarner mechanics to go with it.
Oh, well, actually, you probably do have the Skarner mechanics. That's the whole point of playing Skarner, is it has no mechanics.
Really?
As flowers will tell you.
Will that offend him? I mean, or does he just live up to it?
No. He's like, I press Q. That's about it. But no, it is great to be here with you, man. Definitely a big LPL fan myself. Big fan of your casting. And happy to be here with you to kick off day 2 of the Swiss stage of Worlds. This should be a fun one.
It should be, considering that, again, it was NRG who had TL's number.
Yeah.
Coming through, 3-2 in the lower bracket finals, 3-1 in round 1 of playoffs as well.
Yes, sir.
And I know you backstage were really high on Palafox versus APA, where that felt like a deciding fact to push NRG into the unexpected finals position.
It absolutely was, but like Kobe was talking about on the desk, and everyone on the desk was talking about, it is a different meta now, right? So, is this meta going to be one in which Palafox can kind of enforce his will on APA as much? That's what we have to really find out here. As expected, it is the fasting Senna. It is going to be the farming TK.
Yep.
No big surprise there, but obviously confirmed by the Spectral Sickle. And it's going to be a really interesting one. I think so much additional pressure is felt by the teams in the 0-1 matches, knowing that D+ or KT is going to be in the 0-2 match. And you do not want to go down there, because if you draw that team, it's probably see you later, have a nice flight home.
That's right. Even though, you go to best of 3s, it's so rough again to go against one of those behemoths that are also quite unpredictable. So important matchup here for TL and NRG. As that bottom lane, as you're walking us through a little bit in the draft, you said it feels hard to push in this time. It feels hard to deal with this 2v2 from what TL have offered. But here in the level 1 already, at least there are some good trades, as you can speak about that in the top side as well. Dokla and Summit bashing each other for a little bit, and Summit send packing.
Yeah, good job there by Dokla. Nice early trades. Gets the faster level 2, and Summit a little bit disrespectful there, taking a lot of damage. But at the same time, talking about that bot lane, for me, it's less can they, get the push. I do think that Kalista can get the push. It's more, Oh, his APA's in trouble here, potentially.
Out of the week's going to get him away. Palafox has the summoners available. He flashes for an autos. And first blood to Palafox to kick a chat in the mid lane returns.
Oh, Palafaker showing up here to World. Solo kill on Orianna at level 3 is not what you want to see.
Apologies for the delay. We sorted that out as TL getting bullied in this top lane too. The biggest takeaway so far is that NRG through the early game. I'm getting the vibes that I had through watching LCS playoffs. Azale, you know, this powerhouse of a team, the individual presence as well. And starting off with a solo kill on Orianna in this matchup, pre-6 is amazing.
Absolutely, and it kind of feels like right back to the LCS playoffs where such a difference maker for the team was Palafox. But you can see Core, you can see Pyosik hovering around mid lane, wanting to punish Palafox, who has a wave in a really awkward spot. This wave is pushing away from him. That's why he's hugging the top side where it is warded. He doesn't have a ward over by his Raptors, so of course steps out of that brush. He's going to be spotted, but Pyosik, he knows he could be down there, and that's why he's so heavily playing towards top side and will just retreat out to Core's contracts.
Really smooth stuff from Palafox. Scuttle taken before Pyosik can do anything about it as well, but they're waiting. He peeks his head into the brush. Contracts unable to get that Arctic Assault connect. Well, this is some patience, to say one thing.
Either that or he's gone for a quick bathroom break because
Yeah.
he's been in there for a while.
And he's still there. You can see on the mini-map while Contracts is going straight to the top side. Summit has a flash available. It's matched here. Permafrost is out. And even though Summit gets out of there, Dokla's in. The big man in charge gets one of his own too.
Big Dokes in the top lane showing up here to Worlds, getting the kill onto Summit. Nicely done. Him and Contracts working well together. Core
really
is
has.
still there.
All right, now he's moving.
Man, he is clearly really feeling the pressure to get something done around mid lane. But it also speaks to the fact that he doesn't feel he can pressure bot lane at all. Like, clearly he feels, hey, I'm not going to get anything done. They're not going to be able to kill off Yon, so me sitting bot lane doesn't do anything. So while people will meme this, if you don't think you can accomplish anything bot, you're trying to wait to punish this flashless Orianna. That's really what he was going for there.
Yep.
And unfortunately got nothing done. And now Pyosik going to be spotted out by a great lane ward here from Dokla.
I want to touch on that again because, look, as that ward spots him out, I mean, the rest of the map is so chaotic right now as well, so you can understand further as to why Core J continues to move. Dokla's going to get tagged out that ward. It's a bit of a bait right now, but you see, Contracts is nowhere nearby, so Dokla, he can try and bait him in and waste his time, but he can't overstep.
Exactly. Dokla's trying to really walk that line, and so Pyosik now will go back. Dokla hasn't spent his teleport. That is the big difference maker here.
Yep.
And that is why Summit is going to try to pull the wave, going to try to hold it. We'll understand now that there was a ward in that brush as the minion aggro did fall them, and we can watch this replay one more time. APA was trying so heavily to push in the wave. The wave was pushing away from him, but Palafox is basically just harassing APA every time he steps forward to actually push in that wave. He got the extra level, he's able to punish, and then this was just a nice move up towards top. Sejuani plus melee pairings, we know all about them. Great flash for the second part of the W there from Contracts. That means the passive is stacked and we're back to bot.
And he's now down here. I mean, 3 versus 2, but Core JJ and Yon, they're just fine. They walk it out, half HP. The trade is going to be the cleanse coming through from this Kalista, while NRG have a wave to push in. But again, Contracts, what an early game presence. We didn't get to see any of it yesterday against Wave, but we all know why. But it is really nice to see, again, as you were talking about, that domestic rivalry, the best of these teams, because they are playing against rivals that they know and love.
Absolutely, and he's still just hanging around here on bot side, going to be spotted by the Sentinel there from Yon, but Yon without cleanse is going to have to be careful, and we can see Palafox now at 6, APA at 6 as well. And we see in these matchups so many, I was just going to call it out, the harass shockwaves, just get that chunk, get that push. APA is going to have his TP back relatively soon, but Palafox just looking to continually dominate in this matchup.
And again, there's just so much priority there. That push in is Pyosik still trying to get out on the map. He's now down bottom side, not spotted out, but hard again when you consider what FBI and Igna are running to the table. And as you're talking about APA, just a quick touch on mid, with that teleport coming so soon, he's still just trying to time it so that Palafox can't get the push in, can't get that free plate, and lose out even more.
And the matchup is, a lot more even than it otherwise would have been because of all the help that APA was getting. Core was sitting around mid, Pyosik was sitting around mid. The wave was pushing away from Palafox, so he couldn't actually farm a lot of those minions, and that's why he's down 12 CS here. So yes, he did get that kill, but there is the CS advantage for APA, so he's not as far behind as he otherwise would be. You have the Lost Chapter for APA, and it just boots in a Negatron for Palafox, so it's actually the better buy rate now for APA. So until Palafox can reset one more time, we'll see.
All out there, though. Let's pause for a second. Summit looks for the chase down. Pyosik is going to help out with this one as well. The Viego needs a kill to start snowballing this game, and with level 6, Let's Heartbreak straight away, or at least wait for Dokla to get out of there. He looks for the 1v2. Jungler intervention coming in as Contracts, wants to make it even footing. But Summit, with no flip back and then the Tofo strikes, will just back off as NRG try to make it spicy.
Well played there by Dokla. Really calm stuff from him. Didn't panic, played it out slow, knew he had the help coming in from Contracts, and now they get the HP advantage. Summit has no ulti, so they're just going to start up the Herald here. You can see the push there is in mid for Palafox as well. APA is basing. He could TP up here if they want to try to make something happen, but Pyosik looking for a little bit of dance moves.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, again, make it a little bit fun. TL playing with a 3v2 for now, but Palafox, that Shockwave available as a threat. The center ult from downtown from FBI helps them get the Herald. But Team Liquid looking for something on the exit path. However, with Palafox with no mana, maybe they feel confident to do so with the jump in from Big Dokes again. Pyosik is out, but for the time being, looking for the reset with the help of his team. TL still in deep no man's land, and Igna come from behind. Someone has to flash away. FBI is joined in as well. NRG are pouncing on them, and TL bit off way too much. As APA, he might have the flash, but to burn it soon feels like the reality. Tongue lash out over the wall, gobbled up. What did he taste like? A free kill.
Oh my God, it tastes good, and it's tasting maybe like a win for NRG as they are crushing through the early game. We are 9 minutes in, it's 4-0, already a 2,000 gold lead here. They're gonna be able to push in mid as well. They haven't really been able to get any sort of an advantage with this Kalista, and FBI with that cross-map Sentinel helps them out around the Herald. We can see it one more time. They know they had the early move from Palafox. He is low on mana, but the Sentinel dissuades any sort of an engage from TL. Yes, Core got here first, but it's NRG on the retreat. It's FBI arriving way before Yawn, and there's no way for TL to stay committed to the fight. Pyosik has to run, Summit has to run, and that means Core was always going to be left to die.
I just love, again, from what we've seen in NRG in the past, these map movements are so clutch. And you know, as they were coming to this, I was like, I feel like NRG are my little LPL team from abroad, you know? I'm convinced that G2 were the same in EU. I'm convinced that North America runs NRG in that same way as APA's rooted up. Is he in trouble? Finally gets to burn that flash after he wasn't able to do so last time, but it just keeps falling for TL here in this opening game of Swiss Day 2.
Yeah, and FBI, a nice little move up towards mid there.
Who
catches him with the root, and that forces the flash, and now Contracts could threaten the dive. Sure, APA smartly scouts it out, but this means you got to back up, because without flash, this could be Contracts flashing in with Q flash, guaranteed ult, guaranteed shockwave follow-up, you would be dead. And Dokla winning out pretty heavily in this top side has been really doing a good job in the 1v1. And that is Summit's bread and butter. That is what this guy is known for, is a monster laning phase. He is the best laning top laner in the LCS, has really showcased his prowess in lane. You know, even in multiple leagues across the world, it's always been outside of lane that he's had his struggles. So the fact that Dokla's this far ahead is problematic.
All in coming through from bot side, though, to interrupt Dignar with the tongue lash. The long range from FBI already gone in trouble. Again, dinner time, not yet, as he narrowly avoids. Survives, but again, chips keep falling as the action doesn't stop. NRG keeping the pace going. And with a flick back, APA is one hit wonder away. Contracts with his first kill of the game. And NRG, TL just can't keep up.
They really can't. They're getting run around the map, and now the Herald's going to drop mid as well. And it's really all been created around this advantage that Palafox gained. He gets the solo kill early. That gives Contracts the freedom to get more aggressive. Dokla was skirmishing in the top side really well, doing great up there. And I think the Senna TK was not expected from TL because it seems to have completely neutralized the TL bot lane to the point where Core basically seems to think there's no point in laning.
Again, he's been playing outside of the lane all game long as Pyosik trying to get something done. TL want their first kill of the game here, but the teleport dissuades the play. The only thing that's going to keep it going, or at least keep it safe for TLs with no jungler here, but Palafox trying to change the paces. Shockwave not up and available, maybe would have been the difference maker, but TL sent running for the hills again with a 2.5k gold lead. That's not changing anytime soon.
Yeah, absolutely. It's looking really good here for NRG. You know, the only kind of bomb there for TL is the fact that they did get the first dragon. We'll see if they can continually stack those dragons. It wasn't anything super early. You know, that second dragon coming up, 14 and a half, 15 minutes. With that Kalista, you definitely want to be stacking those objectives. But it's also really tough when Pyosik is falling behind, because when you're playing Viego, when you're playing Syndra, these two champions are supposed to work in conjunction to get that one shot, get that first kill, which gets the reset from Viego. If you can't get that first reset because you're too far behind, because your Syndra is too far behind, you lose a tremendous amount of value. So I think TL are already kind of in this position where they're going to have to find some different angles.
Again, Yon, who's left by himself in the bottom lane, continues to get bullied out. Igna and FBI have had his number all game long. And just a quick touchback on what you're talking about with not only Pyosik, but I think TL. We mentioned the scaling on NRG's side in comparison and what this team can do if they group up as a 4-1 or a 5-man unit. NRG have had such a successful early game that I think it is so right to continue singing their praises when TL are the ones who needed to put pace on this game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, TL is going to have some opportunities. You know, they do have playmaking here, obviously, with the Cassante.
Of course.
Hey, if you can pull this Orianna who's super fed out of the fight, if you can pull someone away, split them up, maybe you can make something work there. Obviously, great engage for Core as well. But I do think it's going to be very difficult for Yon. You're playing this relatively low-range marksman. You're going to have a Jax jumping in your face. You're going to have to deal with a Senna who's outranging you heavily. You're going to have to deal with the potential shockwaves and contracts mid again.
Kill number 4, APA. Yip, yip. Back to the base.
Not again. APA did so well in this matchup against Faker, but he wasn't playing against Faker.
Even better, isn't it? As the jump in on bot side, maybe TL finally can get something done, but Igna saving FBI. Knock, knock, who's that? It looks like Igna is in with the police. Is TL at least going to get some turret plating because of it, but look at mid, open up yet again. And it is always a trade here with NRG at the very least.
Yeah, and Pyosik wrapping around. TL, I think, are feeling the pressure. They know they need to make some sort of a dive happen. They're going to TP.
They finally get Pyosik with something in the game. He flashes but misses FBI. Igna doesn't have the saving grace with the Heartbreaker out. The ulti flash is still alive, but finally, there's a reset over to the TL jungler as Igna is too far away to be caught out, but it opens up that bottom side and finally gives TL some meat.
Yeah, they're going to be able to get something from that. That is big for TL. They needed to get something going, find a lane to play around, so they heavily commit down towards that bot side. You know, they bring down the TP. They try to make something happen. It was a great sidestep on the stun there from FBI, but they'd already used the Tahm Kench ulti on the earlier play, and here it is around mid once again. Contracts this great job over the wall. It's a flashless Syndra, nails the ulti, sets up the shockwave for Palafox, and then down to bot side. This is after Tahm Kench already had to use his ulti in that initial play. Yep. So great sidestep there from FBI. I think his flash, though, unfortunately, was late on the R coming through from Pyosik, so he did take that damage. I'm not sure, honestly, if it would have made the difference, but it was a little bit slow there. You know, to go for the R flash on Senna to try to stay alive with the shield, wasn't quite able to do it. But again, it's Dokla winning on top side. It's Palafox winning heavily through mid. It's Contracts getting more done in the jungle. It's really pressure on Yon now, who did not have a great game yesterday, to be big.
Flush away from APA as that win probability powered by AWS makes things interesting. It's saying NRG got it in the bag, but TL are not going to take that lying down. Dokla with the flash out with the Herald. Reset. Shelly says, hang on a minute. I've got something left at home. 2.8k as the oven's now turned off and Shelly's going back out to adventure, but the eye taken by the man in jungle from NRG. He's also separated, but the eye now exposes Core JJ is going to be the trade-off with a shockwave to the death. NRG making a trade, and they get the purple eye.
Yeah, that is huge. They steal away that Herald. Yes, they do lose one, but it's 1-for-1. They can push up mid. That mid lane turret is almost dead, and they're still going to have that Herald in pocket here with Ignar to try to get even more done. Dokla up towards this top side. Ignar is ghosting him. Pyosik is moving in, so they're going to see if they can try to get something done on Dokla, who has no flash, and also does have a ward, so he will be able to ward off, but we'll see if he can get anything done.
Level 11 here on the man with Divine Sundra. Look at the item comparison. APA, only with the lost chapter, the Fiendish Codex, but we're not going to get to test that metal at the very least. However, when we talked about Summit earlier on, we know this man for a great laner, at least this game in a different lane, he's getting something done.
Yeah, goes to a different lane, does get that first tower, so nicely done by TL. I think NRG, there would have been, you know, some merit to maybe just dropping Herald mid instantly to claim that first tower with that Herald, but we can see this previous fight here. TL was clearly trying to keep NRG out, but with the spells on cooldown there from APA, NRG just kind of bully their way in, and Contracts is able to find the angle here, gets the smite, came down second. Yes, he gets pulled over the wall by Summit. They do get that kill, but Core is traded. They get the Herald. And NRG going to be really happy about their position in this game, still maintaining that 2,000 gold lead. But it has not grown, to be fair.
Well, it's been a player matchup at the very least through the mid lane that has started that gold lead. Palafaker, always wanted to say it, has been dominating APA.
Rolls off the tongue, it's nice.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, he deserves it. Again, this guy, remnants of the CLG roster.
Yeah.
And he's just taken over. He's been the best mid laner for me for the LCS.
Absolutely. I mean, in playoffs, he was for sure the best mid laner in the league.
Yep.
You know, regular season, I think that has to go to JoJo. The MVP was playing really well. But Palafox is such a cool story because he's one of those players, and a lot of the NRG guys are players who have been kind of perennially overlooked in the LCS. People who have always been, well, they're okay. They're an LCS player, but they're not that good. You know, they never seem to get into All-Pro. They never seem to win these awards, these accolades. You know, even going into finals, no one thought they were going to be able to take down Cloud9, including Cloud9, who was aiming for that undefeated playoffs. And out of nowhere, they win. And they really have shown just how good they can be. FEI stepped up massively in playoffs. Palafox stepped up so big in playoffs. And this team that was so up and down in the regular season, it was a team that could always challenge the best teams, but always lose to the worst, showed us some consistency for once and showed us just how good they can be. And now they are starting to get some of that recognition.
Yeah, they've really nailed down the play style, haven't they? I mean, again, they get consistency comes through as Contracts dives through. The man who hasn't been at Worlds since 2017 is leading the charge on this boar. With the teleport in from Dokla, though, they make it a 5-man bot side. They've left Summit towards mid, but they've got the pick. They've got a turret under their eyes, and NRG stay as the unit.
And this could be double tower here. I think they should just walk this in. They're trying to kill it off before the charge, so no HP lost off the Herald there. They're going to walk this up, and they're going to look for 2 towers, as Summit now going to be moving over, because Palafox TP'd mid, so NRG has to be careful to not overextend. Palafox has to follow the move from Summit.
We're going to be spotted out at the very least. It turns into a 1v1 while the Herald gets the charge bot side, but there it goes, TL able to stop the pressure.
Here comes Dokla.
This could turn into a 2v1 very quickly. Over the wall, there's the counter-strike, but Unstoppable separates, makes it a 1v1, but Summon is now squishy as all hell. Dokla says, no problem whatsoever. I'll take that freebie as he moves to 3-0-1, and Core JJ once again in no man's land. Spin to win from the man in the top side, and T1 get him out of there. Excuse me, TL. I'm in the remnants of yesterday because TL are now getting bodied.
It's understandable. You have, you know, all these LCK players. You got Palafaker.
That's
you know,
right. I walked myself into it.
Exactly. Potato, potato. Who could tell the difference? NRG, though, really playing well here. Dominating this game thus far. It's good map movements as well. They get down towards bot side. Again, just constantly picking on APA. Really putting the pressure on them. Contracts has been relentless, and it's just constantly setting up for these shockwaves from Palafox. They get that first kill. They get the pressure. They hold the Herald, and I love how they rush down the tower to actually save that. Then Dokla, on the move, preempts the play that TL was actually trying to set up for. They had a TP on APA when he was up, so they wanted to try to set up this 5v4 on bot side. Dokla says, no, I'm going to actually attack the flanker, bring both the soul lanes over. They get another kill here on Summit. And Dokla is getting miles ahead now in this side lane. 3 kills on the Jax, 3 kills on the Orianna mid. And we're going to have Palafox working towards that death cap. And when that death cap comes through from Orianna, that is when you can start to have those 100-0 combos. No one is safe.
And look, we've only got a 1-item Cassante. Everyone else too, they're going to dissipate. I mean, this is the biggest thing as well. Yon, APA, Pyosik are going to have a hard time as soon as Palafaker continues up that mark. Close with the needlessly large as NRG on the Baron here, Azael, and no one's nearby from TL. Look at where Pyosik is.
Yeah, I mean, they're just drawing so much pressure down towards bot side. They knew Pyosik is bot, so they're just going to force this. They don't have that much damage, but now Dokla sees Pyosik again. They're going to finish it.
I think this. I think APA bitten off way too much. He dies even under Tara. Pyosik is still there in full vision while NRG have a free smite and look for the kill. Core JJ with the all in, but the numbers advantage there. Igna saves FBI. Meanwhile, Dokla dies downstairs. But look at Contracts onto Yon, trying to run away. There's some spears in, but as he gets separated out, TL trying to get numbers advantage. Contracts will eventually die. It's the best fight we've seen so far from Team Liquid, but Summit needs to go down, and NRG have their targets in order. Core JJ and Yon are all that's left standing. Pyosik at least got the kill on the other side. At least they stopped the Baron, but NRG got more resources in the process.
Yeah, they do stop the Baron, but what a scrappy series of events there. Dokla taking the 1v2, killing APA down on the bot side, and gets his flash. And on the other side of the map, TL doing a really good job with a numbers disadvantage, so Dokla just goes aggressive. He knew that Pyosik was around. He all-ins to force the jungler to come to try to get the advantage on the other side, and then is able to chase down APA, gets the kill here. Counter-Strike comes back up, but he's just too low. Nice flash to actually avoid that ulti, but Pyosik has the chase down, did eventually get that kill. As TL were fighting it out 3v4 on the other side. They played this really well. Summit threatening the flank, and Core JJ coming in with the engage to create space for Yon, who is so critical. The instant exhaust came down from Ignar, and he had to use that ulti to get FBI out to safety, but Yon had the cleanse for the exhaust, was putting out a lot of pressure, and Palafox critically was pretty low on mana. So then they're able to split up the fight. All Out comes out from Summit, trying to peel them apart, trying to buy that space for Yon, because he's really the only damage dealer here that's in a position to succeed in this game. So they have to set up Yon for success, but they can't quite push through and get the rest of the kills.
But I want to highlight, at least in that play from TL, who have always managed in this game to keep within an arm's reach of the gold, at least that 2-3K mark, is that they got a big kill on Pyosik. That shutdown onto Dokla, a lot of gold gathered. So still a threat is a great scout of the week to stop that dive in as well. On top, Palafox holding onto the shockwave for now. But TL resists the ambition to go in on top of NRG and hold them at arm's length.
Yeah, doing a good job. Palafox looking like he actually wants to go for the Zonius completion instead. He did have to use his stopwatch in that last fight, so now picking up that Fiendish Codex, not going to be working towards the death cap, is going to be going back towards that Zonius, which always has so much value against Syndra. You know, the ultimate comes out from Syndra. You can pop the Zonius, be able to immune that. So clearly, he's more worried about his survival, the upfront burst, than he is about just the consistent damage, because they are in a really good spot as far as that concerned. It is just that 3K gold lead, though, one dragon apiece. So it's honestly still anyone's game, though I do really favor NRG compositionally from their point.
Yeah, I think we've also been talking them up all early game long too, so completely fair that NRG have been the ones in control. But I just love, again, that you can't count this team out. Second Dragon for Team Liquid as well. Worth mentioning, while NRG have the inside track towards mid, towards that Baron side, they want to threaten TL to move into their headquarters once again.
The problem is, with these Baron threats, their damage is really low. You know, Senna is not super high DPS. Yes, you have the Orianna that's relatively a high damage, but without Jax there, I don't think you can threaten a rushdown with this composition. So if you were playing Azir Kai'Sa, I would respect what they're doing more. You know, you'd have to be worried about it from the TL side. Like, oh, they could actually insta-kill this, but now they're going for the engage.
Instead, the pick is there. Great again. Ignar going to chase this one up as Contracts with the ulti onto APA is huge, but the shockwave! I know why they call him Palafaker. I can feel it.
Palafox's shockwave will find them all.
Yeah,
they get the triple there, pushing him off, and now NRG gonna be able to go over to Baron here. A massive play from Palafox again, is now the Zonius complete. Him and Ignar are gonna be playing bodyguard, but this Baron is gonna go down so slow if Palafox doesn't actually go help to hit it.
Might be in a bit of trouble. Palafox not following it up, though, is just to get him away from the potential Baron. And you're right, Azael, you hit the nail on the head. That Baron is slower than me walking across the street after doing 30,000 steps in Korea. Moving like a snail. They're going to continue on while Dokla just deals with the bottom side. But eventually, and surely, Baron will go down to NRG. The big major objective here in this game is at least Pyosik is trying to trade this off again, but Dokla won't exactly let him. Another stun to bite the dust. The Heartbreaker is up, but it's flashed away from, and Dokla will survive.
Yeah, a little bit greedy there. Dokla knew they were in the area, didn't want to lose the red buff, wanted to grab this, does get punished, loses the flash, but at the end of the day, it is all NRG. Warded out was CoreJJ. Yes, Yon can pull him back to save him with the ulti, but then APA gets tagged again by Contracts for it feels like the 100th time this game. And then that shockwave from Palafox was massive. Finds the three-man shockwave there. And it feels like that may have sealed the deal. To get the Baron, they're now over 6K ahead here. And it's really accelerating them further and further ahead in this game. Ignar is so damn tanky at this point that's really tough to get through him. Contracts is on 2.5 items, only 26 minutes in for a jungler. There's just not a lot of damage here. And Yon has so much armor to deal with that I don't really see how he can ever get through them in a quick way.
That's right, that Kalista point in the game versus Tom, versus Sedge, versus Jax even.
Yeah.
Irrelevancy is something to talk about, and I think more importantly, something you raised in the game as well. You know, Dokla on this Jax, 2 items now with a stopwatch. Who starts matching him? How do you play side lanes? How do you deal with the push? NRG right now, multifaceted through mid, through top. Baron is doing work here with Red Bull Baron power play already at 2,500. And in a turret about to bite the dust as TL is stretched thin.
Yeah, TL might be going for it though. CoreJJ looking for the flank, but the tower is going to be going down, so it's too late and Yon in trouble.
NRG pulling the play instead. Instant cleanse away, but that's summoner taken as CoreJJ is now on a ward. So he'll be spotted out as Palafox has the movement speed thanks to FBI, thanks to Dissonance. And it is Yakety Sax to run away, flash from the shockwave, while the rest of NRG are looking to pincer this movement. And TL, I mean, again, running out of options. Core JJ hasn't been home in years. And this guy at level 9, he's been sitting out of base, and I think another couple of minutes will do him well. The slowdown, easy kill. And one for FBI while Dokla is just playing his own game. Teleport going to be burning in. Okay, this time he's got backup on Piosik. The Grandmaster's might is there, but Palafox now with a Rabadon's death cap. You got to take him even more seriously.
Yeah, he is ready to go. Hit 16, gets the death cap, and that is often the death knell against Orianna here. You get so ridiculously strong at this point. Dokla pressuring, they're pressuring through mid as well. TL just don't have the wave clear. Kalista, without a Hurricane, has almost no wave clear to speak of, and you can't step up because you're so outranged, so it's all up to APA, but APA is very far behind. Contracts has been his bane this game. 1, 2, and 8, but I feel like Contracts to me is just dominating this game. He's been so on point with the ultis.
Great to see him back at Worlds. It's been so long, but this performance putting hope in NRG fans. The root comes down and someone gets poked down. Walk away from this. At least one NA team is going to be moving to 1-1 here as well. And NRG right now look like they deserve it. Such a better showing after going up against Weibo yesterday and having no face in any of the early game in any part of that game against Weiwei and his Poppy. Today, all you can say is that NRG are looking so much cleaner. And Azal, they've never stopped this pace. That's what's so beautiful about this team. There's always one play after another. Yeah,
absolutely. They are really pressuring the map pretty heavily here. Dokla has been constantly out in the side lanes, drawing a lot of pressure, created his own advantage that was kind of slammed home by Contracts. You know, the early trading kind of helped to set up for that gank that came up from Contracts to get that first kill, and then Contract constantly pressuring around APA. You know, the Soul Laners started that snowball, but Contracts kept it rolling all game long, non-stop pressuring APA. You know, you can see, just look at that immunization. He's a full death cap behind his opponent. That is a ridiculous disadvantage. And you're looking over at Jan. Yeah, great, he's got 2 items, but Contracts is closing in on 3. Dokla has 3. Palafox has 3. You know, even Ignar is going to be so hard for him to ever get through. So TL have very limited options here. And we'll see how quickly Palafox and the rest of the squad can push this forward. But you do have to say, if you watched a lot of NRG in the regular season, no game was unlosable.
Yeah.
They lose some ridiculous games in the regular season, including, I think it was their first game of the split against the Mortals. They lost the game that they won. I want to say it was somewhere between 10 and 12K ahead, something like that. And so it does happen. This is one of those teams that sometimes gets overzealous, but in this game, they're looking really measured. They're not looking like they're really overstepping. They clearly want to have a good showing here, and they're in a great position to finish it out.
Yeah, hopefully no clumsy mechanics, no clumsy move from NRG with, again, almost that 10K gold lead, but at least TL trying to force it out. Scan of the Week doesn't connect, though. Dokla's out. 5 members now, all moving in, or rather 4, as you said. Still waiting for someone to join in, but Dokla's taking them all on the crash down from Core JJ. Nothing's connected. As Dokla flashes out, he's ready to go back in. The stun follows through. Contracts now joins in. They tried to take on Big Dokes, but you don't say his name without getting the Dokes back. TL running for the hills, and NRG, every single movement has been world class.
You sent 4, but you should have brought 5. Big Dokes fights his way out of it. He's gonna survive, and NRG crushing TL now. 19-4 is the kill score, pushing down mid. And this is a team, NRG, that plays with emotion, that plays with confidence. When they're ahead, they often really get ahead. So it's such a big win for them, and we'll see if they can close it out right here, right now.
31 minutes onto the Nexus turret to teleport to seal the deal. APA still dead for a bit. And look, Piosik is going to try and do what he can here on the 2-0 Viego, but Team Liquid now in fear of a KT dumb 1 possibility, but more importantly, NRG keeping themselves in a strong spot. 1-1 here to open up day 2 of Swiss at Worlds, and NRG should start being respected with more performances like this as they run onto the fountain to finish in style.
The first win here at Worlds for NRG, able to pick it up, the #1 LCS seed, get that under their belt. It's been so long for many of these players to be back at Worlds. It's the first time for others. You know, it means so much for these guys to be able to get a win under their belt. They do it against TL. It's a team that they are so familiar with, that they're always going to be comfortable with. And to me, this was much more indicative of the NRG we saw in the LCS. They really step it up here today. I think the drafting was such a key component as well. The Senna TK really felt like it undercut so much of what TL was trying to accomplish because they drafted that early Kalista, clearly wanted to try to play to dominate the lane, didn't feel that they were in a position to do so. I think they would have had to bring out a range support for Core if they really wanted to do that, but then they would have had 0 engage. So when they draft that Rel, they couldn't really bully the 2v2, so it sent Core on this kind of roaming